Hey everybody, this is a short video to familiarize you with the computer-based test format in the program that we're going to be using when you take the ELA MCAS in a few weeks. And you might be familiar with it. I think some of you maybe took this in 8th grade or used this program called TestNav, which will be an icon on the desktop of your LPS laptop. If you haven't been using a Lynn School's laptop, then you'll be given one on the day of the test, and there's a little icon on the desktop. I can't show you the icon because I'm not using a Lynn School's laptop, but this is the screen that you will come to when you click that button. And right now I'm using it as a guest, and we're going to play around with it a little bit in a follow-on lesson where you'll be also using it as a guest. But when you're actually taking the test, you'll be given a username and a password to put in here. But for right now, I'm just going to click Start, and I'm just going to show you around the features of this program if you didn't use it in 8th grade when you took your last MCAS test. So this is a practice test, so it's only half the length of the MCAS test that you will be taking. It's 22 questions instead of 45 or so. It's 2 open responses instead of 4. So on when you actually take the test, it's going to be over 2 days. And on each of those 2 days, you're going to have 2 formal open responses to write. So this practice test gives us a really good idea of what those questions and the open response are going to be like. So we're going to spend a lot of time looking closely at the practice test. And then to give you real live practice on an actual test, I will be giving you the test that the 10th graders from 2019 took. It's the only real test we have of the new MCAS. MCAS was completely overhauled a couple of years ago. So 2019 was the first year they rolled out the new version. And then last year, 2020, it was canceled because of the pandemic. So you guys will be the second group of students in Massachusetts to take the new, it's called the Next Generation MCAS. So in this, there are 22 questions. And these are the directions that you're probably really familiar with, that you've been reading since you were in 3rd grade, that just is being very clear about what you're going to be asked to do and what to do if you don't know what to do. We'll spend a little more time with that later, but for our purpose today, I'm just showing you how this program works. So we're going to click the Start button, and then you're dropped directly into the test. And I'm going to show you how you navigate around it. So up top here, there's a back button and a forward button. You cannot go back right now because we're at the beginning, so only the forward button is highlighted, and it will switch you back and forth between the 2 different passages. But it's the review button that you're going to be using the most to move around the test. When you click on that, it shows you 2 passages right here, and then a bunch of questions. It goes up to 9 questions, and then you have 2 more passages. And then you have a bunch more questions based on those passages. And then another passage and a few more questions, and then you're at the end. So if you click outside of that box, you'll see that you're just looking at the very first passage. But later on, as you move through the test, some of the questions will be based on both of the passages, and you'll see both of the passages next to the question. I'll show you that in a minute. This bookmark is just a place for you to save a spot on the reading passage. But it doesn't really let you save a specific place. You kind of have to use the highlighting feature to do that. So if there's a certain passage that you want to save or come back to, I'm going to show you how to use highlighting to do that in a minute. This is just a pointer tool. It switches back and forth between the notepad and the pointer. So after you're done writing on the notepad, you would switch back to the pointer to scroll through the document. And the notepad is where you would write, you know, I think she is saying blah, 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 like you're interpreting what's happening there. Or maybe you're writing yourself a question like, you know, what is the point of a woman looking behind? You know, maybe you notice. Just an example. In other words, oh, you know, there's got to be a reason that they're doing that. Or maybe you're noticing a repetition and you would write repetition of the word ironic. Maybe that's a word you're seeing. Oh, that's ironic. All right. As we've talked about in class, that usually hints at something important. So that's just a few examples of some notes you might want to write down. And then the other tool up here is the answer eliminator, so that when you're looking at multiple choice questions and you know D is definitely not it, you can just cross it out so that it doesn't distract you. I'll show you that in a minute. So basically, in another lesson, I'm going to show you how to annotate while you're reading, you know, just practicing these skills that you've been working on all year, but specifically how to annotate for an MCAS. But basically, you're going to read and annotate the passage. And when you're done, you get to the bottom. Let me scroll down a little here. Read to the bottom, and then you can just go right up here to review and click this button for the next passage. Or you could click the forward button as well. All right, so then you'll read the second passage all the way to the bottom, and you'll annotate it. And then you'll click review to go to the individual questions. While I'm on it, don't forget to be very careful to read these blurbs at the top. And you'll see the highlight feature just popped up. I'll show you that again in a minute. So to start answering the questions, you click on review, and you'll see that all the questions that I just showed you this a minute ago are here, and there are gold circles next to them. The gold circle means they're not answered yet. So it'll help you keep track of which questions are done and which ones you need to focus on. So, for example, a question that's really difficult, you might want to skip it and answer the ones that are a little bit more straightforward or easy for you at first. And that's a great strategy because sometimes those easier questions help build your comprehension to help you with the more difficult questions. So as you're going through the test, you'll see that these gold buttons disappear as you answer questions. But you can still always go back and change your answer until you click submit and when you're completely done with the test. All right, so it looks to me like you're going to read 2 passages, you're going to answer 9 questions, you're going to read 2 more passages and answer another, looks like 9 questions, 1 more passage, and then some more questions, and then you're going to be done. Okay, so let's see, I think that's basically everything except the highlighting feature that I want to show you. So while you're reading, you want to highlight for comprehension, right? Or something that seems like it might be really important to a main idea, contributing to a main idea or a thesis or a theme. Also, I'm going to show you in the next video how to annotate to help you grab your evidence for the open response question. So while you're reading, whether it's your first time reading through the articles or your second, you're going to try to find evidence that's going to help you write a great open response. And like I said, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to do that more specifically. So I hope this was helpful, and we'll spend a little more time with it in the next video. Okay, see you then.